Let's go live to the UK and speak to Nanaba Nama, who is covering this elections for TV3. Nanaba, thank you very much for joining us. And tell us,
thank you,
what does the environment look like as the polls have begun?
Oh, well, polls opened at 7 a.m. exactly this morning, and it will continue till about 10 p.m. when they technically close. Just a reminder that sometime in 2010, when the Brits went to the polls, a whole lot of people, about 1,200 of them, were denied access to voting because it was deemed that they were late to cast their vote. So in 2013, that law was changed. So now, if you're in a queue and it's 10 o'clock, you can still go ahead and vote. Just that information that is very, very relevant. Also, it's a very beautiful afternoon here today. A lot of people are at work, so the polling stations are not packed. You see a lot of housewives and pensioners going in to vote. The workers who form a good part of the voting population will be going in to cast their votes after 5. So it is only at that time that we are going to have packed polling stations.
Initial report filed, while you were speaking to some of the voters, I imagine that they don't seem to trust any of the political parties. Do you think that they're voting based on issues?
Yes, I've spoken to a whole lot of people, and they seem to think that all the representatives or the leaders of the political parties are liars. I mean, they put it that blunt, that they are just liars, they are insincere, they are dishonest, and they do not trust them. So they are just going to vote with their heads and not their hearts, and that's how they like to put it. Of course, a whole lot have come up. A lot of them are looking at the economy at present. The economy means a lot to the people who will be trooping to the polling stations later today to cast their vote. And according to them, there's too many austerity measures in the system, and it's making life very hard for them. You find people who call themselves chain smokers complaining that there's too much taxes on cigarettes. So because of that, they are unhappy in the country. So they would want taxes to be removed from cigarettes and alcohol, for instance. There are some who also talk about the health service, the NHS, like they want to put it. They claim that it's become too expensive, it is too pro-rich, and they would want it expanded to cover a whole lot of people. When you speak to immigrants, they would want it to be open to cover them. So that when you come to the UK, you don't necessarily need an NI to be part of the NHS. So it's a whole lot of issues, and they claim that the leaders of the political parties are not addressing these particular challenges. They keep promising, and they don't want promises. They want action before you get into office.
Now, you had also earlier reported that it was going to be a keenly contested race between the Labour Party and the Conservative. In my readings of final opinion polls that were conducted, there appears to be a certain shift from the Conservative to the Labour Party. Do you get the sense that that's likely to happen?
Well, it's a very close call, actually. It is very competitive. The election is really, really competitive. It has been described as the most unpredictable election so far. Remember, between the Conservatives and the Labour Party, they have produced all the prime ministers of this country since 1922. So it doesn't look like any of the parties, as the Liberal Democrats, the SNP, UKIP, the Greens, will provide any challenge. What they seek to do is to rather cause an upset to these two big political parties so that they will not get an outright victory but go into a coalition. The coalition is now the problem now because everybody seems to think that David Cameron will not get the numbers to stay at number 10. But then again, he's going to get enough numbers to go into a coalition. So we are all waiting to see which party would partner him. It looks like the SNP is still coming up strongly. Labour and Conservatives have a lot of differences. Both parties are inspired and informed by their voting bloc. While Labour is considered a blue color, the Conservatives are considered white color. What it means is that Labour is interested in trade deals, for instance, with Africa. So if they come to power, Africans would expect more trade deals with them, and they will create more jobs to strengthen their support base. The Conservatives, on the other hand, are interested in globalization. They love to deal with big companies. That is why people in this country think that they are more tilted towards the rich. So they would also want to spend a lot more on defense. So you've seen that the Conservatives are spending a lot on militaries in Africa. You've seen them show some keen interest in fighting Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram and then Al-Qaeda in Africa. So if it's a conservative-led government, then you see more funding towards African military. If it's a Labour-led government, then you will also see more funding in trade use.
Nanaba, in terms of the significance of the UK elections to our part of the world, particularly Ghana, you know and I know that we've already started some amendments to our voting here back home in Ghana. I know for the very first time, residents in the UK are beginning to register and vote online. How do they take it? Is it a good deal for them?
Yes, they love it actually. Some of them, you register online and then your ballot paper is sometimes sent to you. So you walk into the polling station this morning and then you just deliver it to the presiding officer. How convenient is that? So they are being told that it takes you just a minute to cast your vote. So you wouldn't say that it's a waste of time. It's just a minute, and I've seen people vote under 1 minute. They just go in, do whatever they want to do. Sometimes they come in already with their ballot papers already picked, and they deliver it to the presiding officer. So it's very convenient for them. They prefer it to going to queue at the polling stations, actually.
And I imagine this is something we could probably in the future replicate. But Nanaba, let me say a big thank you to you. And I know it's quite dry out there. You take care of yourself.